Media ownership is an extremely important issue and impacts the content and perspective of stories we hear about through television, radio, film, and other media outlets. It is also an issue that you almost never hear about. Why? Because these streams of information most citizens rely on for a major part of their worldview are controlled by a handful of corporations. They control what information is reported and how it is conveyed to the public. It isn't in the interest of these corporations to cover anything that may go against their bottom line. In an era where we have 24-hour news coverage through multiple news networks, you might think that we would have a truly diverse and democratic media because of the number of networks. And if you didn't look very closely, it would seem that they convey a myriad of opinions. However, in general, the media is used as a way to convey information in a flattering light for those who have a major stake in these corporations financially. These people can be politicians, wealthy individuals, or corporations with a vested interest in how news is communicated to the public, especially when a story is politically impactful. For instance, take a look at the 2016 elections. Has media coverage impacted a candidate's standing in the polls? Has standing in the polls impacted a candidate's media attention? Research says yes. You often get a very polarized view of news stories when going between television networks such as Fox News or CNN, and radio is no different. You have stations that lean a particular way and support the bipartisan nature of American politics. This is not very democratic in the sense that it only reflects two potential outcomes or positions in any given scenario, when the reality is that media is supposed to function as a watchdog of government and corporate practices. In order to have a truly objective media, the media would have to become more pluralistic. That is to say, media ownership should not be restricted to as few as 7 major corporations, as is the case in 2016. What we have in place in the West is a systemic oligopoly. In other words, only a few firms dominate the entire market. However, with the rise of the internet as a means for real-time sharing of information and perspectives, the veil is being lifted off of media ownership and its inherent bias. Those arguing in favor of the system in place will say that the internet has done away with the need for regulations on media ownership, because information can be shared in an unbiased way. But there is a large number of Americans who don't rely on these online independent streams of information for their views, and form their opinions based on what these conglomerate news corporations report through television, film, radio, and their own online presences, which bear their hallmark names. In regards to the media's ability to influence public opinion, one needs to look no further than the current presidential race. In a study conducted by the website NeimanLab.org, a clear correlation was found between a candidate's total media mentions and their standing in the polls. Consolidated ownership and opinion-based programming deserve credit here. Most people don't realize that an individual can even buy a great deal of influence through ownership of media outlets. For instance, Rupert Murdoch owns both Fox News and The Wall Street Journal. These are two media giants known historically for opposing viewpoints. It would follow that it's easy for these outlets, when owned by one person, to play both sides of an issue for a desirable outcome for their investors. It is precisely for this reason that something needs to be done to break up the ownership of the media and restore the diversity of opinion that democracy depends on for progress and objectivity.